health meeting at Tafari. This will be a very important meeting, I hope, for everyone, especially because our health is our best resource, our primary resource, and people, all of us, are getting to be more and more concerned with using our environment and natural resources to enhance our health. Of color. Vitamin D deficiency. Vitamin D deficiency is very important to us because we people with a lot of melanin in their skin were found to be very deficient in vitamin D, and also people with a lot of melanin suffer disproportionately from many of the major diseases, diabetes, high blood pressure, cancer, asthma, obesity, you name it. We people with a lot of melanin in their skin suffer disproportionately, and this is borne out by statistics from the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. Now, vitamin D deficiency is common all over the world. Caucasians are also very deficient in vitamin D. 50% of the world population, on average, black and white, was found to be deficient in vitamin D. But guess how much very dark-skinned people run? 95 and 97% in that region. More than 90% are very deficient in vitamin D. So this afternoon we're going to be talking about vitamin D, and we're also going to be talking about nutrients, other foods and food nutrients that work with vitamin D. This horizontal line represents the health continuum, and this meaning that at any point in our life we could be in different state of health. Sometimes we're quite well, quite healthy. At other times, we may be not so well, depending on the illness that is affecting us. However, when you look at it, you see the health side and you see the sickness side. Some of us tend to be more to the health side constantly. You know, we are more on the right side here constantly. And some people are more on the sickness side on a more or less constant basis. And as you see here, many things can influence our position on this health continuum. Let's look at the right side of it. Every disappointment in life as something that is very awful can affect, can be less healthy, because that's an attitude problem. People who are more upbeat about things, who surmount obstacles and disappointment with hope, tend to be more healthy. So all those things help to maintain our health. Now look at the sickness side. Various lifestyle practices that are too many to name. Too many to name. Smoking. You have people who take drugs. People who practice all kinds of unhealthy lifestyle. Vitamin D deficiency. A diet of processed foods. People who eat their foods from boxes and cans all the time, they tend to be less healthy, because processed foods are laden with all kinds of unhealthy additives. Processed food have chemical additives, dyes, radiation. Some of the foods are radiated in order to keep them, to extend their shelf life. Some of the foods are GMO, genetically engineered foods. Those can affect our health too. So now we've looked at the health continuum. For example, the flu, the common flu. People whose bodies are optimized in vitamin D, they do not get flu, the common flu, as often as people whose bodies are not optimized in vitamin D. Let's imagine our immune system. The immune system is the system in the body which prevents us from getting all kinds of diseases, and when we strengthen our immune system, we reverse disease conditions more easily. Now, many of us have heard of the T cells. The T cells. What are the T cells? The T cells are some of the master cells in the immune system. We have heard of people who are HIV positive, and when they go to the doctor tells them that their T cell count may be too low. That is dangerous. Goes into detail. I'm just introducing the different aspects of the book now, but the book goes into detail. And the book also deals with the amount that is needed according to studies. From the swine flu pandemic were black and Hispanic children. Black and Hispanic children. And it's not surprising, because research shows that more than 75% of black and Hispanic children are deficient in vitamin D. And the studies are there to show that many of the conditions that people with more melanin in their skin suffer from came from low vitamin D in the blood. And it doesn't matter, the race doesn't matter, and the origin doesn't matter. It is the melanin in the skin which matters. Caucasians who have less melanin in their skin are able to produce more vitamin D from the sun, because melanin, in the process of protecting the body, melanin protects the body, it protects the cells of the body. But it is just an irony that while protecting the body, the melanin blocks out too much of the sunlight that we need to enter the skin to produce vitamin D. You see, vitamin D is produced naturally from sunlight. The sun rays enters the skin, and the cholesterol under the skin produces vitamin D. But with the protection, the natural protection that melanin gives, it blocks out too much of the sunlight. So that's why people with the darkest complexion are the most deficient in vitamin D if they do not supplement with vitamin D. But the book explains there's no problem really in optimizing, because vitamin D is very inexpensive. Would be good enough to produce vitamin D for the day. And the book did not mention anything about the difference in melanin, that they were speaking specifically to Caucasians. So many people who I talk to say, but I only need 10 to 15 minutes in the sun. You see how misleading it is? Just similarly, many health professionals are telling dark-skinned people to put sunscreen lotion on their bodies, because they are telling them that if you go out, they speak generally and they do not specify that certain group, it doesn't apply to certain groups. They say, okay, you need to put sunscreen lotion on your body or else you get skin cancer if you go in the sun. And I have seen many people who are as dark as I am or darker than me saying that, oh, I need sunscreen lotion on my body or else I'll get skin cancer. You see, that is quite misleading because we have the natural sunblock that protects our cells from DNA damage. So we don't need sunblock. As a matter of fact, when Caucasians put sunscreen lotion on their bodies, they're blocking out 99% of the sun's rays that's necessary to produce vitamin D. So medical personnel are also saying that sunscreen lotion may not be so good for Caucasians in that it prevents the vitamin D production. So you just imagine dark-skinned people. So you see, we need information that speaks specifically to our concern and to our physiology. And that's one of the reasons why I came up with this book. How long do we need in the sun? How much time should dark-skinned people spend in the sun? People with more melanin in their skin. It is estimated that people with more melanin who are not Caucasians, they need anywhere from 2 to 3 hours in the sun. The darker the skin, the more time. The lighter the skin, the less time. And we're not speaking about race per se because there are some people who classify themselves as black who are as light as Caucasians. Well, for them, they wouldn't need as much time in the sun. So you see, it's not the race that matters, it's the skin tone that matters. They wouldn't need as much time in the sun, even though they say they are black. But the skin color makes them need less time in the sun. But the darker, the more time we need in the sun. We are not spending enough time in the sun, period. Many people say, oh, I can get my vitamin D from the sun. The sun is a natural source. That is true. But how many people spend enough time in the sun? And what vitamin D does, if a person is, say, in early stage cancer or cancer cells, period, in the studies I read, and your body is optimized with vitamin D, what vitamin D was shown to do in the studies I read, vitamin D reduces the amount of nutrients that get to the cancer cells. It cuts off nutrients from cancer cells. That's how powerful it is. And cancer that people are so afraid of, we all are afraid of cancer. Some of us say the big C, the big C. And look at what vitamin D can do to it. Vitamin D not only prevents it, but during the illness stage, vitamin D can cause the cancer cells to suffocate and cause them to revert to healthy cells. That's how powerful it is.